For those of you who didn't tune in last week, by the way, we have a thing. We're going to be doing an early access of this game. We always do early access with our strategy games. I think it's a wonderful thing. We put a game in early access. We let people play it. We let people, give us notes. We do. It makes these streams really interesting because I can actually play versus the users in the stream. We're going to do all that again. But before we do that thing, we're going to do another thing. And the thing we're going to do is earlier access. And the earlier access will be our chance for those who are really, really big supporters of Boomzap, really, really big supporters of our strategy games, to get in earlier than anybody else, get like the earliest version of the game when it's still broken as crap and sucks, and just dig in and get your teeth into it and have a good time with it. Essentially, it breaks down to a couple things. One, if you go to our Discord channel and you chat in our Discord and you reach, I believe, level 15 in our Discord channel, which is not really hard to do, then that will get you enrolled in our earlier access program. If you come here and watch this stream and earn Boomzap bucks in the stream, that will get you the points that you need to be in our earlier access program. Those are the two big ways to do it. I'm hoping that we'll get like 20, 30 people who are just really into the game and really into strategy games and are, part of our little Boomzap community to be part of that. So I'm excited about that. That's a thing that you need to do. My hope is that it will be January, February-ish, but there's a real question of how far along do I want the game to go before we get that access out to people. Honestly, the people who are going to be involved in the earlier access are all the people over in chat, and my guess is that we can get it to you relatively early and you'll be cool about it. And that's kind of the thing. If you guys are cool with it and you're cool with playing a game that's really broken and you're not going to lose your shit about it and be like, oh my god, this is crap, because early games are crap, right? And they change a lot. That's the other thing, is you have to be aware that if you get into the earlier access program, what you play on day one of earlier access is only going to vaguely resemble what we release as the actual early access build. We'll probably be doing it through Steam, which hopefully will keep us from getting it pirated too hard. It's some things that we have to look at and that sort of thing. We'll probably do a weekly build. Obviously we can change stuff internally on a daily basis, but putting it up on Steam and whatnot is a task, and we just don't have that many people who are capable of that task, so I don't want to be doing that task on a daily basis. But we'll probably be doing something like once a week or so, an update. So we'll take everybody's feedback and we'll put a special Discord together for the people who are in earlier access where they can talk about stuff. For the single player campaign, what sort of length are you shooting for, both in terms of number of missions and total hours of gameplay? I don't have a number on total missions because I don't know how long the missions are yet. There's a lot of testing and stuff to go into the game before I have answers to that question. The question of like how many missions do you have is really not a question. If the missions take 5 hours, well, the number of missions will be smaller. If the missions take 15 minutes, the number of missions will be larger. My hope is that we'll build a series of missions where some are quite short and some are quite long, and there's some variety to it and that sort of thing. In which case, I don't know how many missions it will be. My hope is that the full single-player campaign will be something like 20 hours. I think that's a fair amount of gameplay for a game of our size. I want to actually look at how we make some of the single-player skirmish more interesting by having goals that aren't always the exact same. Doing stuff like capture the flag style goals or defend this style goals. I'd like to do some of that, but there's a lot of discussion that needs to take place about that. And none of that discussion could take place until we got more of the game sort of wrapped up and figured out what we were doing. So we're at that place now, and there's a bunch of conversations that we're going to be having in the team about what our single player goals, what our skirmish goals, what can we do. I want to make our single player campaigns really interesting. I haven't really delved into them yet. I haven't gotten into them very much yet because we've been busy doing other stuff. But now it's time for me to start thinking about the lore and the story and how we tell the story and how we do the single player missions. How much will single player campaign impact multiplayer? This is actually something else that's under discussion right now. And this comes a little bit from our experience with Callasia. When you bought the game, it was all totally unlocked, so that when you played multiplayer, all the factions were available. Looking at that experience, one of the things I really want to make sure happens is that the single player game has meaning, that we're giving away things in the single player campaign that have value We have not figured out exactly what you will unlock or how you will unlock it, but the short answer is you're going to be unlocking factions through the single player campaign. I believe you're going to be starting with Olivia and the Ruma faction, and you will be going through the story and meeting with different people and interacting with different characters, and through meeting those people and interacting with those characters, you will be unlocking those characters and those factions. Whether we unlock them as an entire faction or whether we unlock them as a hero and then individual units within that faction, there's a whole discussion there that we need to have that we haven't had. And it's part of a larger strategic how do we do the single player campaign discussion. But the short answer is I intend to dole out the factions and the heroes through the single player campaign. Part of the reason I want to do this, and I think one of the failures of Callasia was a lot of people, again, because our users were like, oh, no, when I buy the game, I should be able to immediately play multiplayer. Don't stop me from playing multiplayer. Actually, some of those users should have been stopped from playing multiplayer, because what would happen was they would get into the game. They wouldn't even go through 5 minutes of tutorial. They would hop into a multiplayer game and they would get their ass handed to them, which should happen, right? If we had a game where you could hop in multiplayer and not get your ass handed to you if you didn't know how to play, then I would genuinely question what the fuck is the point of this game, because how do you get good at something when somebody can just hop in and not know anything about it and whip your ass, right? So you should actually have the experience of getting your ass handed to you the first time you go in multiplayer if you don't know how to play the game, right? If that's the case, though, then we also have to say, well, don't let them get into a multiplayer game until they kind of know how to play the game a little bit. Part of what we're going to do is integrate the tutorial into the story. There won't be a separate tutorial there, because people, when they see tutorial, they think like, oh, that's work. I don't want to work. I want to play the game. Why don't you let me play the game? Don't make me work before I play the game. So we're not going to do the Paradox games are really bad about this. If you go play Europa Universalis or something like that, they have a very specific tutorial that you play. And they do that because it's sort of a sandbox game and they don't really have a story. So fair enough. We do have a story, and we do have a single player game, and we do have a campaign. So we're just going to integrate the tutorial directly into that. And after you get a little bit through the single player campaign, one of the things you will unlock is now you can go play multiplayer. And that way, by the time you show up in multiplayer, you at least know how to drag the units around and know what the fuck you're doing. So you should still probably get your ass handed to you if you play against good players. But at least you'll feel like, you knew what was happening while you were getting your ass handed to you, which is important.